Many of us out there love a good role-playing game, and every once in a while something happens that it's just the right thing. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 things that make RPG gamers go, aw yeah. Starting off at number 10, it's loot explosions. When it comes to RPGs, few things are as intentionally satisfying as getting a good loot pinata. You know the deal. You beat a boss, like in a loot-heavy action RPG like Diablo, and when they die, a shower of loot flies out of their corpse. Where'd they get all that crap? Who knows? But it's yours now. Because the random nature of loot in a lot of these games, you're not guaranteed to get the good stuff after killing a boss, but when you do, wow, does it ever feel good. The Diablo games have really kind of mastered the art of the loot explosion, but any decent action RPG these days will have some kind of loot to get after a boss after you kill him. The Borderlands games, for instance, have a really good loot shower after a boss, and while other games in a lot of Western RPGs are a little more understated about it, there's still a real sense of accomplishment after you beat a boss and you find yourself in a room filled with chests for you to loot. This one is about as simple as it gets. Loot feels great to get, so more loot, better loot, whatever, it equals more good feelings. Doi. And number 9 is clearing the screen of enemies with a really overpowered move. It just feels incredibly satisfying in an RPG when you start to get overpowered and you whip out this attack that just completely clears the screen of enemies. Like, especially when it's like the first time you've done it. You got your character to a point where it's possible and you pull it off. Like some overpowered spell like Ultima from Final Fantasy, or Ridiculous Summon, or just a powerful combination of skills in an action RPG. Doesn't really matter. It all just feels really good. At the start of a lot of RPGs, you kind of just have garbage on your back, and that's about it. You have to scrape by and struggle even against the weakest enemies in the game, and slowly but surely you start to increase your power. It usually takes a while. RPGs are kind of famous for being long, but eventually you'll be stronger than anything the game can throw at you, and the first time you manage to just destroy your enemies with a single attack, wow, does it feel good. And number 8 is hitting a wall and finding a secret passage. Like, alright, RPGs love to hide secrets. Sometimes they're actually kind of annoying. Sometimes they're also nearly impossible to find naturally, but when you do find one of those nearly impossible ones kind of almost randomly, wow, does it ever feel good. The difference between finding a secret in an RPG compared to like an action game like Doom is that in an RPG, you usually find some special loot. There's like something specific to the secret. Sometimes the best treasures in games are hidden away behind these random breakable walls or invisible walls or just something that doesn't look like anything. See, when you manage to stumble on one of these things through dumb luck, it almost feels like cheating. Just the act of revealing a hidden wall in an RPG is satisfying enough, but like the sound of a wall breaking or the illusion going away, it just feels right because you're looking at a spot, you thought to yourself, something looks fishy, and you ended up being right. And sometimes feeling right is the best feeling in the world. Not all the time. Sometimes feeling right about something is actually a very bad feeling because there's a whole lot of crappy stuff to be right about in this whole world. But here, wow, does it feel good. Secrets are one of those double-edged sword kind of things where they can be really annoying to deal with if you miss them, but if you're one of the lucky few who just finds them randomly, you're gonna let out a big aw yeah. And number 7 is pulling off a series of perfect dodges. Now this might sound like more of an action game thing, but the line between RPG and action game is getting thinner by the day. I mean, look at the Souls series. Dodge timing is absolutely essential in those games, and those are definitely not the only RPGs where that matters. It actually goes way back. I mean, look at the Mario RPG games, like Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario. They all have timed hits where you can avoid almost all damage from an attack if you press the button at the right time. Obviously, these things require patience, but when you manage to perfectly dodge through a boss's entire combo, it just feels good. Pretty much any well-timed dodge feels good, but it's especially impressive when you manage an entire series of dodges in a row. If you want to feel like an untouchable badass in a game, like Neo dodging bullets, then get the dodge timing down. Even in something as basic as Mario, managing to completely negate all damage from an enemy's attack never stops feeling good. And even though it's basically essential to beat some of the toughest Souls bosses, it's still a good feeling. You know, when you dodge multiple attacks perfectly. And number 6, when you make an enemy vulnerable and doing massive damage. Like loot pinatas, this is one of those things that's absolutely designed to be satisfying. I'm talking about things like knocking over an enemy in Xenoblade or pulling off an all-out attack in Persona 5. Like, there's a lot of great RPGs that use some variation of this mechanic, where you can somehow exploit an enemy's weakness and leave them open to a big attack. It doesn't even have to be the flashiest thing. Even something like stunning an enemy in a Souls game is satisfying, especially when you follow it up with a visceral attack and shred their health bar. It never stops feeling good to just destroy an enemy with an all-out attack in Persona 5 before the song even manages to get started. That game is the absolute master of the "aw yeah," at least as far as JRPGs go. They've just got the whole brain reward thing down. Like, if you want to feel good about yourself as a gamer, play Persona 5 and get like good enough at it that it starts rewarding you with animations and stuff. You'll feel great. And number 5, evolving Pokemon or getting like the perfect fusion. It's a little more specific, but it counts because while all the leveling up in a game feels good most of the time, it's not even close to as satisfying as evolving a Pokemon. There's a few other games with similar mechanics, like unlocking new classes in class-based games or fusioning monsters in SMT games, but the visceral thrill just isn't quite the same as those games compared to a Pokemon game. And it feels good no matter what to watch your creature evolve into a new form and instantly gain a sometimes massive increase in power. But like when you view it for the first time, like when you didn't know what was coming or what this new evolution would even be, wow, is it even better. That little moment of build-up just before the new Pokemon's revealed is just like the most hype thing possible. And regardless about your feeling for the Pokemon series, there isn't a lot out there in the RPG world that is as satisfying as evolving your Pokemon. It's not the only game that does it, but it's basically the originator, so we have to give the series its due here. At number 4, leveling up at just the right moment when you're low on health. Okay, so there's actually something just a little bit better than evolving a Pokemon, and it's something that can happen in pretty much any RPG. You're exploring a dungeon, but your resources are shot and everyone's on the verge of death. There's no save point in sight, and a fully powered boss is in the near future, and it seems like you don't have a chance at health. You manage to scrape through one more battle, and that's when the "aw yeah" happens. Everyone in the party levels up, and all of your HP and MP gets fully restored. Like, just a second ago you were on the verge of death, but now you're maxed out and ready to go. Leveling up a character in general feels good, but when you manage to strategically level up when you're on the verge of death is like incredible. And not every RPG does this. There's some that are cruelly denying healing you when you level up still, while others just all around don't let you do it unless you're at a save point. But for the games that just naturally do the right thing and heal you when you level up, pulling off this trick is amazing. And number 3 is catching an enemy by surprise. Stealth headshots in Skyrim, like sneak attacks in Elden Ring, hell, even attacking an enemy from behind in something like Earthbound, this all feels really good in an RPG. Like for people who had played Final Fantasy VI or something and then tried Chrono Trigger and were like, oh, the battles aren't random. Wait, that means I can sneak up on enemies? And like it made the battle much easier. It's not that it's stealth mechanics, but like it's kind of stealth mechanics. It really feels great, whatever it is. Take a game like Divinity Original Sin 2, a game that's pretty challenging at the best of times. Like certain encounters can be total slogs if you try to take them on normally, but if you're careful and get all your guys into the right position before attacking, you can turn a fight that would normally kill you pretty much every time into a cakewalk. All it takes is the patience to set up a good ambush. There's a reason why the stealth archer build in Skyrim is so powerful too. It really works and it's very satisfying to pull off. Same thing goes for Elden Ring. It's simple, but a good backstab from behind with a good stealth character can really neuter some of the more difficult fights in the game. Even in some old school RPGs where stealth isn't really a thing, getting a back attack on enemies is great. I mentioned Chrono Trigger a moment ago. Like it usually makes it so you can attack twice before the enemy can even do anything at all, which is obviously incredibly helpful. At number 2 is critical hits. Of course, when you're talking about RPGs, one thing you'll always see are critical hits. Whether they're random, activate because of a special ability, or like meter-based, it doesn't really matter, because actually getting a critical hit always feels good. Always. That's just how it is. Blowing up an enemy in Fallout 4 with a VATS critical is fantastic, just like getting critical hits in old school games like Earthbound, Final Fantasy, or even Dragon Quest. The Pokemon games, Critical Message is a classic too, but one series that really does critical hits well are the Fire Emblem games. Those games all have special animations for when you get a critical hit, just to really take home how special these attacks are. Pretty much every RPG out there has some kind of critical hit system in it, and even when the game isn't as flashy about them, it's still great when you're lucky enough to get them. And finally, at number 1 is completely breaking the difficulty. Here is the ultimate RPG. Oh yeah. When your characters become so overpowered that there's basically nothing that can stop you. One of the great joys of playing an RPG is just watching the numbers go up. The stats, the damage you do, everything. Working and getting something for it feels good. And for certain gamers, there's nothing better in the world than doing everything you can to basically completely break the difficulty of a game. They're the types who can look at the various systems going on and identify all the vulnerabilities, the buff combos that are potentially overpowered, the possible exploits in some random minigame, stuff like that. RPGs tend to be really complicated, and with so much going on, it would basically be impossible for a designer to account for every possible thing. So usually there's some way to completely break a game over your knee, even if it's not exactly obvious from the get-go. The amount of examples of this kind of thing are pretty much endless, but the results are always the same. A game that's supposed to be at least kind of difficult becomes a total walk in the park. And for certain gamers out there, there's just nothing better than getting all the pieces into place and becoming a totally unstoppable chosen one in an RPG. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.